had always believed in trust, respect, and boundaries in a marriage. My wife, Jessica, and I had been together for nearly a decade, and for most of that time, we shared a strong partnership built on mutual respect. But over the past few months, I started noticing subtle changes, her becoming more secretive with her phone, casual mentions of spending time with friends that felt vaguely uncomfortable, and an increasing emphasis on her independence in ways that sometimes felt like pushing boundaries. It all came to a head one evening when Jessica asked if she could sleep over at her male friend's house. At first, I froze. The words didn't even compute. Sleeping over at a male friend's? I tried to keep my tone calm, knowing that my initial reaction might be interpreted as controlling. Jessica, I can't agree to that, I said firmly but gently. Her reaction was immediate and intense. What? You're being selfish, she snapped, eyes wide with disbelief. It's just a sleepover. I'm not doing anything wrong. Why are you trying to control me? I took a deep breath, realizing that I needed to be clear without letting anger or guilt dictate my words. It's not about control, I explained. It's about respect and boundaries in our marriage. Sleeping over at a male friend's house crosses a line. I'm your husband. That kind of intimacy, sharing a bed, even platonically, feels like a betrayal to me. I can't be okay with it. Jessica's face twisted in frustration. But you're making this about you. You're so selfish. I can't believe you're stopping me from seeing a friend just because you feel insecure. I could see she genuinely didn't understand my perspective. I realized then that this wasn't just about a sleepover, it was about trust, boundaries, and the values we each held in our marriage. I knew I had to stand firm, even if it risked conflict. Jessica, I said, trying to keep my voice steady, this isn't about selfishness. It's about what's appropriate for our marriage. A sleepover at a male friend's isn't just casual, it challenges the trust and commitment we've built. I love you, but I also have to protect the integrity of our relationship. I can't compromise on this. Her expression shifted from anger to shock. She wasn't used to me asserting boundaries so firmly. You mean you'd rather I not go at all? Even just for a night? She asked, her voice tinged with incredulity. Yes, I replied calmly. I can't separate sleepovers and boundaries from the respect I expect in our marriage. I can trust you, but I also have to trust myself, my instincts, my feelings, and the principles that guide our relationship. This crosses a line. The conversation became tense, stretching late into the night. Jessica tried to argue, to rationalize, to make me feel guilty, but I refused to back down. I knew that giving in would set a precedent, eroding the trust and mutual respect that had sustained us for years. Over the next few days, the tension lingered. Jessica was quiet, reflective, and occasionally bitter. I could sense that she was stunned not just by my refusal, but by the clarity and firmness with which I had communicated my boundaries. For the first time, I realized that standing firm in my principles might provoke discomfort or anger, but it was necessary for the health of our marriage. The situation also made me examine our relationship more deeply. Trust and respect aren't just about believing someone won't cheat, they're about shared understanding, honoring boundaries, and aligning values. When one partner crosses a line, intentionally or not, it challenges the foundation of the relationship. By asserting my stance, I was not being controlling or selfish. I was protecting the integrity of our partnership. Jessica eventually calmed down, though the shock lingered. She began to understand that my refusal wasn't about limiting her independence or freedom. It was about maintaining the trust and boundaries we had agreed upon when we committed to each other. The conversation, though uncomfortable, became a turning point. It clarified expectations, reinforced boundaries, and deepened my understanding of what was essential for a healthy marriage. In the weeks that followed, we navigated this new understanding carefully. We discussed scenarios, clarified what each of us considered acceptable, and reaffirmed the principles that had always guided our relationship: honesty, loyalty, and mutual respect. The sleepover incident became a catalyst for deeper communication rather than a wedge between us. Reflecting on the experience, I realized several important lessons. First, asserting boundaries is not selfish, it is necessary for personal integrity and relational health. Second, trust requires clear communication and adherence to mutually agreed upon principles. Third, standing firm in the face of discomfort or opposition reinforces the strength of a partnership. Jessica's initial accusation of selfishness faded over time. She began to see that my refusal was not an attack on her freedom, but a defense of the values we both claimed to cherish. By articulating my boundaries clearly and calmly, I demonstrated that fidelity and respect are non-negotiable pillars of a committed relationship. The episode also strengthened me individually. I learned that discomfort, conflict, or even temporary anger from a partner does not automatically indicate wrongdoing on my part. Maintaining integrity often requires courage, clarity, and the willingness to face resistance. By standing my ground, I preserved not just the health of our marriage, but also my sense of self-respect and moral clarity. Months later, looking back, I see the incident as a turning point. It reminded me that boundaries are essential, trust must be actively maintained, and clarity in communication is vital. The shock Jessica experienced was a reflection not of my rigidity, but of the strength and consistency with which I upheld the principles that guide a healthy, committed relationship. Ultimately, the experience reinforced the importance of trust, respect, and boundaries. By refusing to compromise on what I knew was right, I protected our marriage from potential betrayal and clarified the expectations for both of us. What initially felt like conflict became a source of growth, understanding, and deeper commitment. The lesson remains clear: being firm, honest, and principled in the face of challenge is not selfish, it is essential. Boundaries are not limitations, they are the framework within which trust, loyalty, and love can flourish. And sometimes, being stunned by the strength of another person's conviction is exactly the wake-up call. A relationship needs to realign with its true values.